Welcome to Ghouls Night Out with your hostesses, Brandee and Jodi.
Hello, beautiful ghouls. Welcome. Thank you for listening. This is Brandee. I'm with my sister Jodi.
Hello.
So, how are you doing on your diet?
I'm not doing too bad. I exercised this week, but I still didn't do my yoga because I still had little twinges. So I was like, I don't want to hurt myself. So but I did exercise. I think I've lost another couple pounds.
Oh, good.
So
I really honestly don't trust your scale, to be honest.
my scale is fine.
I don't think so.
My scale is fine.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't weighed myself, so I don't know. But the fact that you said the other week that you gained 3 pounds, or didn't you say you gained 3 pounds in 3 days or something crazy like that?
Yeah, but I think that's just how women's bodies are. We retain water.
You really, 3 pounds, really?
Well, it depends on how much I ate, too. I don't remember. I might have ate a lot. I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, well, I did pretty good.
I came so close. I got Pizza Hut pizza tonight.
Yeah.
Only had 2 pieces.
Oh.
But I came really close to getting the big cookie thing.
Oh, yeah.
Man, that picture looked good online.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
Yeah.
So I had a popsicle for dessert.
Oh, that's good. I'm proud of you.
It was not as satisfying, I'll tell you that right now. I want some chocolate really bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I did pretty good. And I exercised four times this week. But one of the days, I only did like half of my video. So I don't know if that counts. I was sweating.
I think anytime that you, how do you put it, do something other than what you would normally do.
Yeah.
So for me, usually is sitting on the couch. So if I, do like a deep cleaning or something, that's exercise to me.
Yeah,
Especially the next day when my butt muscles hurt from doing whatever I was doing. But yeah, I mean, because you're getting up and you're moving.
Yeah.
Definitely. Where you wouldn't normally do it.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. So yeah, I did pretty good this week. So I found another quote unquote bridezilla, if you will. And these people are getting ridiculous. I mean,
are they getting ridiculous, or have they always been ridiculous? We just didn't see it because we didn't hear about it.
Maybe. I don't know. But now it's posted online so we can all read about it and make fun of it. So this one, it started out, a shell-shocked wedding guest shared a list of demands from a bridezilla on the internet, and the internet's reeling from it. On Thursday, Redditor Leica Cat posted an email screen grab of a stern mandate from the wedding coordinator outlining a list of rules and regulations for guests from the bride and groom. The email post was titled, this is the title of the email: kindly refrain from upstaging the bride on her big day. Oh, and no admission without a gift of $75 or more.
What? What is people's problem?
I know. And you're like, the wedding coordinator tried to make it sound cute. Like, and you can't get in if you don't spend money on, like, oh my God.
All that does is make me want to go to a dollar store and get something from the dollar store.
Yeah.
And bring it as their gift.
Someone commented something like, I want to see someone bring something that was $73.50 and see if they still get in. But these are the rules and regulations. Please arrive 15 to 30 minutes early. Please do not wear white, cream, or ivory.
So I would be wearing white, cream, or ivory.
Absolutely.
And I would get there at the exact time that it's supposed to start.
Please do not wear anything other than a basic bob or ponytail.
What?
Please do not have a full face of makeup.
So were you supposed to draw a line down our face right in the center? And only one eye gets eyeshadow and mascara and lipstick and blush, and then the other side, nothing?
That would go perfect with your ivory dress.
Yes, it would. And my long flowing hair that's not a bob or a ponytail.
Please do not record during the ceremony.
Oh, it's being recorded. With flash, too. I'm going to take pictures with flash.
Oh, well, okay.
Oh, is that a rule, too?
No. But there's something to do with pictures. Do not check in on Facebook until instructed.
Excuse me?
Someone put on the internet, wait, so during the ceremony, they're going to stop and request that you check in on Facebook?
So what we're going to do is we're going to videotape it while it's going on. Stop. Post it on Facebook.
I'll videotape you while you're posting it on Facebook.
Okay. That'll work too.
Use hashtag redacted, so hashtag whatever, when posting all pictures.
I don't do hashtags.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't even
That's
really
a pound
know what
sign.
that means.
That's a pound sign.
Yes.
Do not talk to the bride at all.
Okay.
Everyone will toast with Remy, no exceptions. I don't know who Remy is.
I don't either.
And lastly, must come with a gift $75 or more, or you won't be admitted.
If I am ever invited to a wedding and there are rules, I wouldn't be going anyway.
No.
Be like, what you can do with your rules?
Oh my God. What is wrong with these people?
They're going to end up being so stupid about their wedding that they're not going to have any guests.
Exactly. Nobody is going to show up. Nobody wants to deal with that shit, especially on the fucking weekend. Like, we're not working. We are going out of our way and dropping stuff that we have to do to come to your wedding. Mm-hmm. And we're bringing you a present, no matter how much it costs. And get over it. So ridiculous. So I came across that. I came across a lot of like depressing things this week. It seems like every other week it's like depressing shit, like the freaking fun stuff that I always think is fun and it turns into not fun stuff, like the Mexico Observatory that...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that turned into a child porn thing.
That's what they say.
Oh.
I do not believe
you think it's a cover-up?
They are not going to close down a whole facility and everyone in the town be, what's that word? Evacuated because of some porn or child porn. It doesn't matter.
That's very true.
That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
So what do you think it is? Do you think aliens showed up?
I don't know, but it's not that. And I heard that it was something to do with security or something. They're not going to evacuate a whole town for security problems at a building.
Yeah.
I could see them evacuating the building.
Sure.
But not a whole town. The only time they would evacuate a whole town if it wasn't something like aliens or, whatever.
Anything that was an immediate threat.
Yeah, it would be like, hazardous material or some kind of leak or, something, a gas leak or something. I could see that, but no, I don't believe it. Not one little bit.
Ooh, so that means they're covering up something big.
They're covering up something, yes.
Ooh, that's crazy.
I know.
I love it. Love it. Okay, so next story that I found of a Virginia man accused of rubbing produce on his buttocks and then putting it back on the shelves.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Ew. Listen to this shit.
No, I don't want to.
This puts the gross in grocery.
Did you come up with that?
No, I read it. Yeah, I'm not that clever. A Virginia man is facing charges after he allegedly grabbed produce at a Manassas store, pulled down his pants, and rubbed food items on his bare buttocks. The suspect then allegedly put the tainted produce back on the shelves. According to the Associated Press, Michael Dwayne Johnson, 27, was arrested Saturday afternoon in the Giant... Huh? What'd you say?
Dwayne the Rock Johnson?
No! And if his ass was on anything, I would be gladly... That didn't make sense.
No.
I would be glad to accept it.
Yeah, he's hot.
Oh my God. Yeah. Anyway, giant food store. After an employee called 911, I would pay money to hear that fucking call. Pay money.
Why would you call 911? It's not an emergency.
Maybe he was being disruptive. Oh, they called about destruction of property. Oh my God. The employee told officers Johnson was allegedly seen picking up produce, pulling down his pants, rubbing the produce on his buttocks, and replacing the produce back on the shelf. Man, I would...
Who says buttocks?
Seriously. And it was in quotes. So they said buttocks. They were probably...
That's like what they used to say, like, back in the day.
Yeah, nobody says that anymore.
No. It's usually just ass.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I would say. Because, I mean, if you're calling 911, you're in panic mode because there's a bare ass in your store and you don't want it there. Destruction of property. Okay. Johnson was arrested inside the supermarket and charged with 2 misdemeanors, indecent exposure and destruction of property.
I guess I could see the indecent exposure.
Sure, yeah. If he's pulling down his pants.
I guess that would be a 911
That is disturbing. Call. Could you, like... I'm just sitting there thinking of looking at avocados with my kids. And
I'd probably start throwing fruit at them or something. Get out! Get
No,
out.
that's just uncomfortable. You know, just uncomfortable.
He's obviously not in his right mind.
No, and why? Why rub?
Why do people
produce
do the things
on your
they
ass?
do? I don't know.
What does that accomplish? I don't get it.
I don't either.
Oh, goodness gracious. Anyway, so the next couple stories are about the worst thing ever, which is spiders and insects. But a bug heist it happened in Philadelphia. Thousands of insects and spiders were stolen from a Philadelphia museum, which is the weirdest thing.
Why does a museum have...
It was, let's see,
Were they alive?
Yes, it's called an insectarium. An insectarium.
Okay.
Which, I don't know. It says Philadelphians are on the lookout for 7,000 creatures.
Oh my gosh.
Including a highly venomous spider. They were stolen from the city's insectarium and butterfly pavilion last month. The thieves made off with up to 90% of the museum's collection.
Oh.
Including a 6-eyed sand spider whose bite could rot 25% of their victims' flesh.
Oh my gosh. Where's this at?
Philadelphia.
Oh, good. It's nowhere near here.
So, yeah, Philadelphia. Watch out.
Sorry, people.
The insectarium, I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but the CEO, John Cambridge, said that he wasn't sure there has ever been a larger live insect heist in history. It was thought the missing creatures are thought to be valued anywhere between $40,000 and $50,000.
For bugs?
Yes. I mean, it's a museum, and they're alive, and they're probably pretty rare, I would think, right?
Yeah, probably.
But they know exactly who did it. They was old employees, and they were let go for extremely good reasons, quote unquote, so who knows what the fuck. Yeah. They got them on camera. They know exactly what they took. They know who did it, and then they just didn't show up for their shift. So, obviously.
Yeah.
Since the burglary, the museum has established a GoFundMe page to replace the missing creatures. So, if you are so inclined and you want to look that up, you can look that up and donate to the Creepy Crawlies. So, yeah.
So, they probably just, killed all of them? Because, they're worth a lot of money, but nobody's going to buy them.
Seriously, why the fuck would you take bugs? And what are you going to, like... It's
just
the weirdest
to get back at them. I get
grow the fuck
whatever,
up.
But they're not going to get any money from it.
Yeah, seriously, like what would I don't know. That's fucking weird. So yeah, they probably did just kill them, which is horrible. I mean, whatever. So the next one, the title, spooky nighttime children's voices turned out to be something even creepier than ghosts, which I was totally intrigued by this. I just read about this today. It says residents of a small town in England have been haunted by the eerie sound of a child singing old nursery rhyme. It was freaking people out. And it's apparently, it's raining, it's pouring, the old man is snoring.
Yeah.
The first time, this is a quote from a resident, the first time I heard it, it was the most terrifying thing ever. I went cold and felt sick. I thought, what on earth is that? So, oh my gosh.
Well, yeah, I would too. I'd be like,
yes.
oh my gosh, what's going on?
I seriously would think I was hearing things. If I just heard a freaking nursery rhyme out of nowhere.
I wouldn't think I was hearing things. I would immediately be like, where's that coming from? And I would start searching.
Oh my gosh. Okay, this is the fucking craziest part. The voice was part of a motion-activated security system at a nearby warehouse. Okay, so I just want to stop on that point really quick, because how the fuck is that supposed to be a security system? Because it's raining. If I was going to rob a warehouse and I heard that, I'd be like, oh, there must be a school around here. Anyway, what can I steal? I mean, that is not a security system at all, which... I mean, this is in England, so maybe they counted on people being creeped out by that.
It could be.
I mean,
England is like one of the oldest.
Absolutely, their buildings are older than we can even imagine. Which is this? I love it.
I know.
This. Oh my god, I want to go.
So maybe they were hoping whoever was trying to get in thought there were, children ghosts around or something.
Oh my god. If that is the end, if that's someone's thinking about the end result of that security system, they are fucking brilliant. And I want to have a beer with them because that is the fucking greatest. Okay, so going back to the story, spiders took over some of the lenses, and when one of them crawled across, the system triggered and the recording played sometime in the middle of the night, which that is the greatest security system I've ever heard of in my life. So it sounded very eerie at nighttime, a spokesperson for the newspaper said, but the message wasn't aimed at local residents. The sound is only supposed to act as a deterrent for the opportunistic thieves that come... Sorry. I just think that's the funniest thing. I don't know why. Okay.
Because it's weird. That's why. That's not a security system. That's for grade school. The classroom.
Oh my gosh.
A nursery.
Okay, it's designed only to be heard.
I would pay for video of that security system going off and a grown man or something run away.
Oh my god, that would be hilarious.
That would be great.
That would be the greatest thing. Oh my god, because I'm just trying to put myself in that mindset of, okay, so I'm a thief. I'm going to this warehouse. I'm going to steal some shit. And then I walk in and I hear, it's raining, it's pouring me on. I just don't get it. That is the greatest. Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's designed only to be heard by people on our private land. So for now, the company is clearing away the cobwebs and turning down the volume. So maybe maybe they turned it up all the way so it would just be allowed. I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry. It's the funniest thing.
Think of this. What security company is going to add that to their list of security sounds that you can choose from?
Maybe it was a coupon.
This is our clearance section. It makes no sense at all.
But it's fucking funny.
It is funny. It's definitely funny.
Okay, so that's all I had, other than depressing shit that I'm not going to talk about.
We don't need to know about that.
Right. So
I'm going to do stories on something that I can't believe we haven't done before.
Oh, yeah?
On shadow people.
Ooh. Oh, my gosh. You know what? I want a picture of a shadow person when we go to that library in October.
Well, hopefully we can take pictures there because I want to take a whole bunch of pictures.
Me too.
And try to get something.
Ooh, you guys, we will post. And we're going to be talking about it probably a lot.
Because it's coming up.
It's about a month away and so exciting. I've never been anywhere like this before. That ghost walk was the closest thing that I've ever been to, and that really wasn't. I mean, the cemetery was creepy, and the stories were definitely creepy, but I didn't feel anything.
No, because it was more of a, like we said before, it was more of a history.
Exactly.
Right. And there with a few scary stories thrown in, but we weren't actually in the places that they were talking about, not like for what we're getting ready to do.
I know.
And it's going to be freaking awesome.
It is. I'm excited.
So, okay, shadow people. First, I'm going to tell you what they are.
Okay.
And then I've got some stories. That's the next door neighbor and his trash cans.
Oh.
Okay. All right, shadow people. The paranormal phenomenon of shadow persons or shadow men seen just out of sight, in the blink of an eye, or lurking in the corner of the room are becoming an increasingly interesting area of study for many, precisely because we don't quite know what these shadow beings are. There are a huge number of theories, some suggesting that these black shadows are simply ghosts taking on a darker form, while other theories lean more towards the idea that they are time travelers, or beings from an interdimensional plane, or even aliens. Maybe the shadow people are all of the above, or maybe there's something more sinister.
Weird.
Okay, so this says, what are shadow people? Explanations for what the shadow people actually are differs depending on where you look. But from a scientific perspective, when we see these figures, it is simply our minds filling in blank spaces and creating something human-like from the shapes that we can see. Another explanation comes from night terrors. Much of the folklore surrounding Shadow Man centers on stories of people waking up after feeling pressure on their chest, a heaviness in the air, and a deep fear. When they awaken, that fear continues as they are completely unable to move and feel paralyzed. Often, this is accompanied by sightings of shadow persons sitting on their chest or lurking in the corners of the room. This is the most widely accepted scientific explanation for this phenomenon, but of course, there are many scenarios involving shadowy figures that can't be explained away quite so easily.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I mean, that really doesn't make sense to me, honestly. That your brain filling in. What?
Yeah, I don't believe that. I don't accept that.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right. Mm-mm. And those because you actually posted a post on the Facebook page, which you guys should look at. We post stuff on there every day, so. And you actually posted something about shadow people today, and I was looking through those pictures, and they are insane. I mean, it's so clear, and it's just this black, obvious human figure.
Yeah, people describe them as blacker than black. That's they can't even describe how black they are. They're just it's
void
if you have
void of anything.
If you have a room that has all the lights are off and it's dark, these are darker than that.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
All right. The next section I have is what do they look like? Have you ever noticed something out of the corner of your eye and not quite been able to tell whether it was a person moving out of your vision or whether it was just a shadow? It may well have been a shadow person. Shadow people are different to spirits and ghosts in that they are dark in color. Shadow is the absence of light, and so facial features, clothes, and other details are generally completely undetectable. These shadowy figures will simply appear in a humanoid form, seemingly made from the shadows themselves. They could be the size of an adult, but you may see them appear as the size of a child. You might see them in the corner of a room, moving through walls, or they may move extremely quickly once you have taken note of them. The shadows may appear solid or like swirling smoke, and although it's more common to see shadow people at the edges of your vision, you may well be unlucky enough to encounter a shadow person face to face. One thing to take note of, however, shadow people are often described as having glowing red eyes.
No.
Yeah, imagine seeing that coming towards you.
No, thank you. So did you say that shadow people can create shadows themselves?
They said let's see. They appear human in a humanoid form seemingly made from the shadows themselves.
Oh, so it looks like it could be a shadow, but it's totally human form, so it's probably
human form,
not.
and it's like totally like
Separate?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
So here's some stories I found. Some of these are really weird. Okay, my first story. I was a kid, maybe 10 years old. I had just gone to bed and was wide awake. It takes me a long time to get to sleep. With my window to my room open, I looked at the window and there was a shadow that looked like the outline of a man looking in. Oh. My room was on the second story of our house and we had roof peaks, so I'm 99% sure it wasn't just a person looking in. Ooh. It was a shadow. I screamed and ran to my parents' room and told them I saw a shadow in the window. They went and looked and it was gone, but my dad joked about a floating head for weeks. Mean old dad.
Such a dad thing to do.
Know.
But it's kind of funny.
Okay, I was about 10 to 12 at the time, and I had moved into an entire different state with my mom and her new husband. I was home alone on the computer. I was sitting in an open area on this futon with all the lights in the house turned off. The only light I had on was the one coming from my computer screen and from the running TV. You know when you get that feeling as if someone is staring at you? Well, I turned to the source.
What is happening?
Obviously, this is a Valley girl. So seriously, that's what it says. You know when you get that feeling as if someone is staring at you? Well, I turned to the source, which was near the stairs, and I just saw this dark human figure. It was necessarily... This is written horribly. Aww. It wasn't necessarily transparent, but I guess you could classify it as that. It was just standing there looking at me with one hand on the banister. I grabbed my laptop and ran to my room, repeatedly calling my parents.
See, the fact that she could clearly see that it was, it had a hand on the freaking banister. If you guys haven't looked at those pictures that Jodi posted on Facebook, look at them, because they are completely clear. They look like just completely black people. They're just standing there, but it's...
And what gets me is there's so many stories about the same thing.
Right. And oh my gosh, it's so scary.
Yeah.
What is it? And the fact that, have you ever heard the Art Bell audio of the guy calling in about UFOs?
Was it UFOs?
It was UFOs.
Maybe I'm thinking of what did it say?
He was freaking out, and he was like, I don't have much time. They're gonna center on my call. They're gonna cut us off.
Yeah, I did hear that. Yep.
And this dude, I don't know, who knows if it's fake or not, but they insist that this is real. And it is scary because this guy is so convincing that he used to work for NASA, I think it was, and there are aliens, and they're not what anyone thinks. They are these interdimensional people that can pop in and out of our dimension. It's not like spaceships are coming. They are in the room. When you're in the room, you just can't see them. Kind of thing.
That gave me goosebumps.
I know, it's the creepiest shit ever. And he's so convincing, and then all of a sudden the entire station shuts down.
Yep.
And Art Bell is like, that's never happened before at all. Mm-hmm. So, it was really convincing. But this guy is totally convinced that these are interdimensional people, and it's not anything like what we think.
Yeah, not your typical UFO coming from outer space thing. And,
yeah, it's scary. That's scary.
Yes,
so who knows if these shadow people, they could be the same thing.
It could be. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I have no idea. All right. When I was in 7th grade, I was standing at the bus stop early in the morning, still dark outside. The bus stop was somewhat under a street lamp. It would cast your shadow onto the house in front of the stop. I still, to this day, can't explain what I saw. I was standing there, normally the only person at this particular stop, when I see the shadow of a person walking towards me. I didn't think anything about it. It was a school bus stop after all. All of a sudden, while I am watching the shadow of this person approach me, the shadow just stopped walking. Curious, I looked around for the signs of someone. Saw absolutely nobody. I turned back to look at the shadow when it then drops to all 4 legs and takes off running full sprint right past me.
No!
Then just disappears without a trace. I have told this story to many people. Nobody seems to believe me.
Oh my fucking God, no way.
I got goosebumps again.
That is scary shit. No.
All right. I was watching TV probably 3-ish years ago. The TV had a small glare on it, and I could kind of see the sunlight from the hallway reflected on it. It was probably 2 or 3 in the afternoon. I was completely alone. The wife was at work. I was watching TV and I noticed in the glare the silhouette of a tall man stepped into view. I froze solid and didn't make any movement or noise. In fact, if you were looking at me from behind, I would have appeared to remain in the exact same state. But somehow the silhouette of the man stopped right when I noticed it, lingered for a second, appeared to raise its arm and wave, and then stepped out of view. I didn't hear a door open or close, didn't hear a window budge or break or anything, and I didn't find any evidence of anyone. Probably just the light playing tricks on me.
Or that's what he tells himself.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people do.
Absolutely, which is probably exactly what I would do.
Well, yeah, it was in their house.
In the middle of the fucking day.
Yes.
Oh my God.
All right. There's something that myself and several of my friends have seen around our town. We call it Deer Man as a bit of a joke. The first time I saw it, I was on a walk with my friend around 2 a.m. It looked like a man was standing between some trees on the edge of the nearby woods. As I stared at it, he ran away. It was just this shadowy black blur in the shape of a man, but fast. Oh. I tried pointing it out, and when I told my friend, I said it ran upright like a man, but fast like a deer. That's why we call it Deer Man. Well, my friend didn't believe me until about a week later. He was driving down the same road about 55 miles per hour. He saw a shadowy figure cross the road in front of him and stand to his left. As he passed it, the thing chased his car. It actually kept up with him for about 200 yards before turning off into the woods. Oh. We then saw the same thing about 4 miles away later that summer.
What the fuck?
I don't know.
Oh no, oh my God.
If I saw something like, I would be afraid to drive it by myself.
Yes.
Anywhere.
Yeah, I would too.
Alright, my family owns a house on Cape Cod. The previous owner was a white supremacist with an autistic son named Jimmy. Jimmy was known for putting on a trench coat and fedora, climbing trees, and shooting cats and dogs with a BB gun. Oh. When my parents moved into the house, they found a bunch of Nazi paraphernalia in a bedroom. They put it in the shed, told the former owner that had a week to get rid of it, and then threw it out.
Yeah.
Of course, at the age of 7, I didn't know any of this. That's when I was visited 5 nights in a row by a figure in a trench coat and fedora. He didn't have any detail. He looked like a silhouette, like he was being powerfully backlit but with no light source. He would stand in the corner of the room or sit there crouched or sit on the bed opposite mine. My brother's bed, but he was at summer camp at the time. One time, he sat in a rocking chair, and when I looked later, he was gone, but the chair was still rocking. After a few nights of this, I told my parents about it. My mom called it a nightmare, but my dad was intrigued. He told me to tell the figure, "Jimmy, I don't have your stuff." So the next night, when the figure appeared again in the corner of the room, I said, "Jimmy, I don't have your stuff." And Jimmy walked right over to me, put his face an inch away from mine, and then disappeared. I never saw him again. Years later, I found out about the history of the house. I've often wondered if I had heard it before and somehow suppressed it and then imagined my encounters with Jimmy. But he was and remains entirely vivid to me.
That is unreal. That is the scariest. No. I don't like that.
No. All right. I saw him 3 times in my old Florida house. I was lying in my bed wide awake. I had finished reading, my coffee was empty, and my girlfriend was asleep next to me. It was dark, but I saw something move in the shadows off to the right of my bed. It was as if a patch of darkness had just suddenly stood up. I saw something about the size of a small boy, but seemed to be composed entirely of shadow. The shadow walked around to the foot of the bed, then turned its head and looked at me. I saw 2 glimmering points of red light where eyes would be. I briefly got the image of a small child, lost and confused and a little angry. It just stood there and looked at me for a moment. The head seemed to tilt a little, as if it didn't understand what it was seeing. Then it walked ahead around a corner and into the master bathroom. The shower doors rattled. When my girlfriend woke up hours later, I was still awake. She wanted to know why I had showered in the middle of the night and left the bathroom such a mess. Oh. There was water everywhere. I couldn't answer her. That was the first time I saw him. Mm-mm. No.
So what do you think they're like? Would they be ghosts or... that is... I mean, that could be something completely... We haven't even come up for a name. I mean, other than shadow people.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no one knows what they are. So, I mean...
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's crazy.
Yep. When I had just started out working as a CNA, my first job was in a SNF, and we had a patient on the first floor. He was a nice guy, and one day he started to decline. The day before he died, we couldn't get him to go to sleep for nothing, so we asked him what was wrong. And all he kept saying was he was afraid because these black things were around his bed waiting for him. When they, the third shift, discovered that he had passed late that night, they said his face had a look of terror on it. Still bothers me to this day.
Oh, no, that's horrible.
Yes, it is.
Man, that reminds me of that traumatizing story you told about the woman in the hospital, and she said, "Don't let them take me."
I know. That's so horrible.
Traumatized by that fucking story.
Unless she was like a total bitch. And
yeah, exactly. But what if she was a nice old lady and she said, "Oh my God, I would
scared to death to die now"?
Yes, I would be traumatized. Sorry. That just reminded me of that goddamn story.
All right. While my husband and I were dating, he lived in Austin, Texas. He was renting the upstairs of a friend's inherited house and was often there alone while the friend was out of town on extended consulting jobs. First, I must point out that my husband is a very level-headed guy, and while he is an imaginative person, he isn't the sort who would give a moment's thought to a house being haunted or speculating about ghosts. Late one night, my soon-to-be hubby called me, sounding very nervous. He said that he had seen something in the house on the stairs, a human form. He said that it was a transparent white shape without features, but shaped like a person. When I pressed for details, he said that he was coming out of the bathroom at the top of the stairs, and the figure was walking up the stairs towards him. He also admitted that he had seen this whatever it is once before, but this time it raised its head and looked at him, and that it had eyes that seemed to glow. He decided to move out soon after that. So this one was white.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So I just told this story to my friends a few years ago. I was in the bathroom in that apartment that I used to live in. And I had just gotten out of the shower. And I was like, I flipped my hair over and was like, drying it. Mm-hmm. And I went back and I looked in the mirror and there was this huge white thing behind me. And then I realized it was my ass. It's all good.
You're such a dork. Oh my gosh.
I've seen that
too. Anyway.
Sorry, I had to tell that. That was the first and only ever joke I've ever made up. I'm very proud of it.
That was very good.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I work in LTC and have had many strange things happen. The one that stays with me the most is a resident I had that never came out of her room for any reason. One night she came running down the hallway. Eyes were wild, screaming, "The angel of death is in my room, please help me." It took a long time to calm her down and some good old Xanax, but when we took her back to her room, she said, "Oh, I'm okay now. He apologized to me because he said he had the wrong room." I asked her where he went and she pointed to the room next door. I worked the next night and didn't think too much about it until my tech came running to tell me Mrs. So-and-so had passed on. It was a resident we weren't really expecting to go at that time. Guess which room she was in? Yep, in the room where my other resident had said the angel of death had gone the night before. Still gives me creeps to this day.
Oh my gosh, that is creepy.
So then you go into, okay, are there really angels?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Angels of death?
Yeah.
Maybe.
He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm in the wrong room." Wouldn't you be pissed? Oh, okay. Whatever.
Okay, bye. Oh, goodness.
Okay. When I was in 6th grade, as I recall, about 11 years old, I was invited to a barbecue at a local park by a fellow classmate. I live in Las Vegas, so parks tend to consist of a playground, an adequate grass field for sports, and a walkway surrounding it. This particular park happened to be surrounded by 6 to 7 foot brick walls all around, except the front of the park, which led to the street. A single doorway wide entrance opposite that in the back, which led to a neighboring apartment complex. After a day of playing, as most kids tend to, it was time to go home. We were tasked with collecting all of my friends' younger brothers and sisters. There were 4 of us, same-aged kids, actively looking for about 7 or so younger children. The park wasn't too huge, and there was only one brick building, which served as the restrooms by the front. The kids weren't too hard to find, but this is where things take a turn towards the paranormal. Halfway through the park, we see a dark figure of what appears to be a small child. Thinking it was one of the siblings we were looking for, we naturally started running towards it. At this point, the figure is making a dash toward the back of the park, so we give chase and start yelling at the child to stop.
Oh my God.
As this dark, black-colored figure is reaching the end, the most fucked up, completely spookiest thing I've ever seen in my life ensues next. The dark, childlike figure turns white, starts running on all fours for like 10 feet, runs up a tree like a cat, and uses the elevation to jump over the wall to the apartment complex. We run out of terror back to the front of the park. The figure was completely solid, and I have 3 eyewitnesses that can back my claim.
Okay, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay, that's 2 that have run on all fours.
Uh-huh.
And have been white?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Well, it was dark first. Then it turned white.
Oh my God. I have never heard anything like that in my life.
That's why I told you these are weird.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, this is the last one. I'm parked in the woods, standing with friends by my truck. Something starts rolling down the hill, but it gets closer and we see it's actually something running on all fours. Thinking it's a bear and a general feeling of discomfort, we jump in the truck and I'm heading off down a dirt mountain 4x4 road, and I'm about a mile away and I hit my brakes. Looking in my mirror, the brake lights reveal that this thing is still right behind us, now on 2 legs. Now it's white, not brown.
What the fuck?
I gun it and it gets back down on 4 legs and keeps up to about 40 miles per hour, off and on mountain road / Jeep trail, and it stops when I finally hit pavement. I blew a tire and drove another 5 miles on the rim until I was far enough away to not feel threatened anymore. We never figured out what the hell it was, but it scared the bejesus out of us. One friend sat in the truck clutching a shotgun and wouldn't even get out so we could change the tire.
Oh my God.
What are those?
Seriously. Oh my God.
They're changing colors and
all fours.
I'm sorry, but when there's like a humanoid figure and then it starts running on all fours, that is creepy.
Absolutely.
Like,
because it's so unnatural.
Yes.
And we can't wrap our minds around that. That's too scary.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, so last week I came over and you excitedly told me that you had won a prize at work. Mm-hmm. And it was an Alexa box.
Yes.
So I did.
It's actually a fire cube.
What the fuck ever, man.
Well, say it right.
Same thing. It's Echo and Alexa and all those other things. All the same. So I did the creepiest things Alexa has done. Just for you.
Yay.
Okay, this creepy thing happened last night. We got home and totally unprompted, our Amazon Alexa started talking. Then we realized it was listing off local cemeteries and funeral homes.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh my God. Just random.
Are you trying to tell us something?
Oh my gosh, that's creepy. And mine are very short, and so I didn't do much this week. Okay, so next one. We've been having trouble with our Alexa for about 6 months or so. It scared the hell out of my wife one night by playing Halloween sounds while she was alone. Oh my God. Like, why?
Oh, that would be horrible.
Okay, next one. Just last night, I was woken up by Alexa at 3 a.m. talking about someone named David. I thought I was talking in my sleep, but there's no prompts after I set my alarm that evening.
Oh. So, like, for no reason at all.
That's weird.
I know. Which I don't own one of those. Like, are they attached to your computer?
No, it's total like a Bluetooth. It's Wi-Fi. It's the only thing. It's just plugged into. I think it's plugged into my TV.
Just so it can communicate, basically.
Yeah, and it's hooked up by your internet or whatever.
Right. Well, some of these, the people have looked back on logs of some sort and to see what the prompt was or what Alexa was answering.
Oh, yeah.
So that's just why I asked. Like this one, it said no prompts after I set my alarm that evening.
Yeah.
So obviously
So when you prompt, it's when you say Alexa.
Exactly. So they can see if you like. I'm assuming if you connect it to something, you can see exactly what the prompts are and all that. Yeah. So, okay, next one. My mom's Alexa randomly turned on and started glowing. And my mom was like, Alexa, what are you doing? And she said, I'm trying to learn new things.
Oh, that's creepy.
I know. My mom said, no one told you to do that. And she was like, okay, and turned off.
I guess I'll have to do this in private.
Wait till you're out of the room, bitch.
I think I told you this when I got the Alexa, and I've never, this is the first time I've had one. Uh-huh. And you tell her to do something and she does it. You feel like saying thank you.
Yeah.
You feel like, oh, thank you. But it's just a box.
Well, that's ever since I do the navigation thing on my phone.
Yeah.
And they're like, turn right at the next whatever, and I'm like, okay. I say okay every time.
I talk to mine all the time. It'll be like, turn right at whatever, and I'm like, no, I don't want to. I want to go straight.
You know, I think everyone does that. I do that too.
Don't tell me what to do.
It's not weird. You're weird. Okay. All right, next one. I got my mother-in-law a Dot for Christmas last year. She's a chronic insomniac and tends to go to bed very, very late, like after 3 a.m. One night she was up a lot later than that. While watching TV, Alexa piped up and said, "Good night, Clarice." My mother-in-law's name is not Clarice. Oh my God, you just went off.
It's because you keep saying her name.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. But her mother-in-law's name was not Clarice.
Oh, that's crazy. Well, you know whose name is Clarice.
Oh my God. Okay, so out of the blue, late one night, without asking her for hours, she said, "If Chuck Norris wants you to know where he is, he'll find you. If he doesn't, you won't know until it's too late."
Oh my God, that's a good one.
Could you imagine hearing that? Oh my God.
I would be cracking up.
Okay, next one. Wife and I are arguing about something, no clue what it was, but it was getting pretty heated. I didn't know what Alexa thought she heard, but suddenly she interjected with, "Why don't we change the subject?" It was just unexpected and relevant enough to be creepy. We both heard it, and we both still talk about it. There was nothing in the app logs. So she just randomly
funny.
piped up.
But not.
I know. Like, you don't know whether, it's kind of creepy, but, it's just a robot.
Yeah.
Or is it?
I don't know.
Exactly.
All I know is mine better not.
Oh my gosh, if it ever does, unlike the fucking knock on the door, you need to tell me and all of us, you guys need to get on Jodi about this because it's not just me. I want to hear everything. I mean, come on. We're all family here. Okay. Next one, I live in a small one-bedroom apartment. I was in my bedroom using the PC, no music or anything. Alexa's in the living room, probably about 15 feet away from me. She just says, "That's so nice." At that point, I was kind of panicked.
I don't know that one.
Oh my God. I hope the audio caught that because I'm leaving it in. Stood up and checked the living room, nothing special. Then went back to the PC and checked my log on the browser. So what she said was, "That's so nice. Just ask me what you'd like me to do and I'll do my best to help." And what she heard was, "Alexa, please."
Oh.
That's so nice. Just ask me what you'd like me to do, and I'll try my best to help.
It just said the exact same thing. Oh my god!
I just got chills.
I did too.
I don't think I like Alexa anymore. Alexa, go away.
Okay, she went away. She went away.
Right.
She went away. Okay. Which I'm getting ready to say her name again. So. Okay. About a week after my dad died in October of 2016, Mom and I are standing in her living room talking to someone. Mid-sentence, Alexa pipes in with, "How do you make a Kleenex dance? You put a little boogie in it."
I don't know that one.
There were definitely no prompts or anything that even sounded like it. We even looked it up later in the app and couldn't remember what it said, but basically there was no record of a prompt. Figuring it was my dad dropping us a dad joke, man, he was in love with Alexa. Okay, last one. This one, I don't know whether to be creeped out or it's funny, but I was manually turning the volume down using the buttons on my Echo Dot, and it started laughing like she was being tickled. It was the weirdest thing.
You know whoever came up with this probably put like little things in there.
Which is hilarious, and I love it. I love it. So those were mine. Like I said, they were very brief, but awesome. So
I like those.
Yeah.
Okay, it's time for the witty wrap up.
Witty wrap up!
And I am getting so excited because Halloween is coming up.
I know.
It's my favorite
I know.
holiday. So I did funny haunted house stories.
Ooh, yay!
Like, the ones that you go to on Halloween.
Right. Which I just literally on the way here, which is like 2 seconds, heard an ad for a Halloween or a haunted house.
Oh, yeah?
So I'm like, yay, it's that time.
It's that time.
Yay.
I love this time of year. Okay, so these are funny haunted house stories.
Awesome.
All right. My brother worked at a haunted jail in my town. He said it was all going well until like an hour before it ended. Nobody was showing up and he had to take a leak. So he decides to piss in the corner. As he unzips and starts, he hears talking and commotion. Of course, he couldn't stop. So by the time that large group of people reached the cell and looked in expecting a scare, they saw a wolf man pissing in the corner. And he says the only thing he did was turn his head and growl at them while pissing.
He was like, oh, grrr.
And of course, there's not going to be anybody until you start
absolutely.
peeing.
When you're like right in the middle.
And that's when everyone decides to come.
Of course.
Of course. Okay. Not exactly an actor, but I was the guy who opened the door when a group went from one room to another. I wore this black cloak that had a hood that almost entirely covered my face. Was thin enough I could see through it. These two kids, 13 to 15 years old, came around the corner as I was moving my head back and forth looking at people, and one of them said, "Dude, these animatronics suck." I took a single step forward and he screamed in a really high pitch and jumped so far back he smashed into the wall. His friend stopped moving for a solid minute to laugh at him.
That's like my worst nightmare. I'm going to think something's not real and it's totally real.
Also, the amount of appreciative looks I got from guys whose girlfriends got scared and clung to their arm was far higher than I expected, except for the one guy who was making comments about this place wasn't that scary and he would protect her, only to scream like a girl as soon as he turned the corner. Oh. His look wasn't so appreciative.
Oh, I bet he's quite pissed.
I got to work in the special VIP attraction last year at my local place. It's basically a really dark trail in the woods, but the actors are allowed to touch guests, grabbing and pulling people off into the woods and whatnot.
Oh, no.
Hiding kind of sucks. I had to lay in the mud and grab at people's ankles and then chase after them. But the funniest goddamn thing in the world is the lanterns. We give them little electronic hand lanterns as their only light source, and 2 guys have remotes that can turn them on and off. Every time, without fail, the guy's girlfriend is yelling at him to stop turning the lantern off. It's even better if you have a really dark costume because you then can walk up behind them, lay a hand on their shoulder, and say, "Yeah, jerk, don't turn the lantern off."
Man, I think it would be so fun to work in a haunted house.
It would be hilarious.
I worked in a haunted house when I was in high school. We put on one for like the fall festival for like the elementary kids, you know, and it was really fun, but the mask that we have was like unbelievably hot.
Oh, yeah.
So it kind of sucked. But yeah, scaring people was fun. But, you know, it was an elementary school kind of...
Yeah, so you couldn't really go full out.
Right.
Okay. Standard jump scare scene. A guy with a demon or whatever mask pops out, spooks the tour, then disappears back behind the wall. But I guess the guy got a little overzealous. Demon pops out. "I'm gonna eat your ass." Tour member. "You're gonna eat my what?"
Probably came out way wrong. You know, he probably meant something completely different.
He's probably said it was like, oh.
As soon as it came out of his mouth
in my head,
he's probably like, "Oh fuck, that didn't sound right at all." He's probably so embarrassed. That's hilarious.
He creeps back into the shadows.
Thank God I had on a mask.
Let's see. This one, he was a faceless hood trying to scare people from behind the curtains, but didn't hear them approaching, so I didn't manage to pop out to scare them. They pulled open the curtains and asked me which way the exit was. It was both humiliating and amusing, to be honest.
I think he was like, "Oh, that way."
You suck. My costume was vaguely like the girl from The Ring. A year or 2 after the movie came out, pink little girl's dress, long black wig over my face. I was pretty tiny back then and quite flexible, so I could contort myself in pretty creepy ways.
Nice.
Add a strobe light, and you've got some terrifying moments.
Fuck yes! Oh my God!
Without fail, it was always the huge football players in leather jackets who would absolutely lose their minds in my room. Screaming, trying to climb the walls to get away, breaking and running, the whole works. Usually their girlfriends would stand by calmly. One guy's reaction was especially delicious. Once he saw me in the corner, contorted but slowly uncurling to drag myself across the floor, he screamed, "Oh, hell no," and ran through the nearest wall.
Oh my!
Just took it right out, made of plywood, plaster, and some drywall.
No!
Someone else ended up having to take him to first aid because even once I was out of character, he still couldn't stand to be near me. I won an award that year for best scarer.
Fuck yeah, you did! Hell yeah, girl! That's awesome. Could you imagine scaring someone like that?
Oh my gosh.
That would feel really good.
Yeah, it would. Okay. A woman who I assume was the mother of the kid pushed her daughter in front of her and sprinted while screaming, "Survival of the fittest!"
Shit! Dude! No! Oh my God!
That is hilarious!
That again reminds me of that post that you posted.
Which one?
The one about the animal that'll throw its baby at something and then run. It's horrible.
It was like that one episode we did. It was like, I don't have to be the fastest. I just have to be faster than you.
I don't have to outrun it. I just have to outrun you. It's horrible.
Oh my God.
I love it. That's great.
All right. I work at a haunt in PA. that is part of a multi-attraction location. There's a haunted house, hayride, and corn maze. I work the house, and we are generally the crowd favorite. Last year, my job was to sit in a shed where the exterior had been modified to look like a small mausoleum in the graveyard portion of the haunt. Thanks to a relatively simple system, I knew the names of at least 3 people in each group that would come through. Into a mic connected to wraparound speakers, the sound followed the guests. I'd sing Ring Around the Rosie, Pocket Full of Posies, and then pick a name and ask, why won't you play with me? And then say the name. Oh. And people would lose their minds. Part of the lore for the house was that a young girl had died on the grounds and she was buried in the graveyard. Well, one night, mid-season, I did this to a poor unsuspecting soul named Tiffany, and Tiffany's reaction was to scream at the top of her lungs, "Y'all motherfuckers need Jesus!" Without question, my best story of the entire season.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that poor thing.
All right. We had a guy who would chase after you with a chainsaw, with the chain removed, after you left the house. You know, just to run after you a few steps when you came out the door.
Sure.
Well, one time these 2 girls came out, and I swear to God, one of the girls just had like an extreme panic response, and I guess her body chose fight over flight. She literally chased the guy down while he was yelling, "I'm just kidding, it's just a joke." And she kicked him in the balls so hard he vomited.
Oh my God.
She apologized and said she just freaked out.
Best haunted house story ever. Oh my God. That's great.
This one cracks me up. Okay, this is my last one. I helped out with family-friendly Halloween walk a few years back, mostly involved sitting in a bush and letting some of the kids walk a little past me before making some kind of sound in the middle of the group. However, for the parents, I would always moan, "University costs are rising." Woo!
That's the scariest shit I've ever heard.
That's right.
Oh, that's great.
That's all I got.
Okay, well, thank you guys so much for listening again. Follow us on Facebook. We are posting almost every day, probably. I don't post on the weekends, but...
Yeah, I don't either.
I'm just bored at work, so I post all day at work. So follow us on Facebook, and we still want to hear your stories about anything we can use on the witty wrap up. If you have scary stories, funny stories, things you found in walls, things you have dug up in your backyard that you didn't know that was there, anything, we want to hear it. Anything you would think that we would find interesting. So email them at GhoulsNightOutPodcast@gmail.com, and we will talk to you next week.
Later.
Bye.